11 years ago, I made a vow to my wife. One, that I'll always will protect her. And two, that I'll always grab her butt, even though when she's old or wrinkled. And today, I got a lady who's going to help me connect better with my wife because obviously we're not vibing right now
Uh-oh.
because I'm not protecting her, but I'm still grabbing that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to a connection coach, Rachael Jaye. Rachel, how are you doing today?
Hi, Joseph. I'm doing so well. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Now, let me ask you something. Is it bad that I grab my wife?
It's bad if she doesn't like it.
Oh, now you tell me.
What response do you get from her when you grab her? Let's go there first.
Get out. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. She's such a kidder.
Is she
She
though?
likes to play. And she likes to play this game where she packs my stuff up and moves it outside. It's so funny. She's so cute.
It's a good game. If you're still in the house, it sounds like she lost. She's
Who
not
says
really
this
winning
is
that
my
game.
house?
Ah! All right, fair enough.
So, Rachel, you're a connection coach.
I am.
First off, before we get into all that good stuff, where are you from?
I'm originally from Northern California, but I'm currently in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, Brooklyn. I got lost in Brooklyn one time. Long story. I'll tell
Oh,
you about it later.
You live to tell the tale.
Okay, so what's going on in New York?
It's not so bad here. It's still, I don't know, it's still in a way bustling, it's just in a different sort of way than we know New York to be bustling. But it's definitely come back to life. And I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't get out that much these days. It's like I go out a couple times a week to run errands, but because of the masks, I don't like going out unless I kind of have to or have something fun to do. But yeah, I see other people bustling.
Yeah, my cousin slash business partner Raphael, he lives in Harlem,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, so he tells me all the time that his favorite governor, Governor Cuomo, is his favorite governor of all time. He loves governor. If Raphael, if you watching this interview right now, we know how much you love Governor Cuomo, or however you say his name. I don't
Cuomo.
even. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah,
Cuomo.
Cuomo. Like
Whatever.
yeah.
Whatever.
Whoa,
Whatever.
with a
Whatever.
K.
Yeah. Put it this way: both him and his brother are a bunch of punks. So I'll say it to the face.
All
With
right.
that said, moving on. What got you into the line of work that you are in now?
It goes way back to the 2016 election and seeing the writing on the wall that the results of that election were going to cause a lot of division in the country, which it did, and people feeling really.
No, not President. I can't even say that name on YouTube. Sorry, not number 45.
Well,
I gotta get. Hey, look. I gotta get paid. Look, for all the conservatives watching this show, I love y'all, but YouTube has rules, and we can't say that name. We can't say election. We can't say just say 45. Do the Whoopi Goldberg thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. So but that said, I tend to not judge, people's affiliations, but I saw the writing on the wall that it was going to lead to, as we know, a lot of division and isolation and people feeling really isolated. And I wanted to do something that would counteract that in some way. And so I became a cuddlist. And essentially, I know that's going to get a lot of questions and eyebrows raised. What the hell is a cuddlist? But a cuddlist is a platonic touch practitioner. And so I liken it to like the bridge between massage therapy and traditional talk therapy, because your massage therapist isn't going to hold space for you to vent about everything going on in your life and like share your concerns and your fears and, vulnerable information. And your talk therapist is not going to hug you if you need that sort of a comfort. So it's sort of the middle ground. Shall I pause there? Do you have further questions about that before I continue?
Oh, I do know. Continue. I got
most people do. So I thought, let me just put it right there and see what happens. Yeah. So I became certified as a Cuddlist in 2017. And wow, that looks like I'm topless. I'm just going to move this down a little bit. So you can actually see I'm wearing a shirt. No, leave it.
That goes 500 viewers right there. Bam.
Great. Boom. Yeah. So I was certified in 2017, and then, the pandemic hit and can't really do sort of in-person, platonic touch work anymore. And the other thing that I was doing was nannying, which again is in-person care, so I needed to pivot. And, essentially, I took the experience that I had as a Cuddlist and everything that I learned through that as far as what actually allows genuine, authentic, lasting, meaningful connection to happen between people, to be able to kind of change it and morph it into what I'm doing now. And what I found from all of the clients that I worked with is that the greatest need was married men, oftentimes with kids. And so I've just sort of been digging deeper into that and why that is, and why there is such a need for that, and how I can be a support to that.
Okay, let me ask you this. Now, this is this is not a personal question. This is a hard question to answer.
Oh, okay.
And this is serious. I know we were joking around and everything, but this is a real serious question. I watched some stuff on TV about that profession, the Cuddle coach. Has that ever been? And the first thing that ever came to my mind was, has anybody ever gone too far with it? What I mean is, not you, mean that a client has tried to take advantage of what you are trying to accomplish during that type of therapy.
It does happen. It has not happened with me, but I know that there have been instances where that has happened. But the company is really, they're really wonderful about supporting and protecting their practitioners. And they give us a lot of tools and resources as we go through the certification to be able to know how to best prepare ourselves for being actually in a session with somebody. And that means learning how to screen people ahead of time to our comfort level to be able to know if this is somebody that we feel comfortable with. Because the biggest foundational piece of the platonic touch therapy is consent. There's so much consent education that goes into those sessions. And that's why I refer to it as platonic touch therapy rather than just professional cuddling, because there is so much more involved in it. And so with that, part of, the like sister to consent is boundaries, and being able to, as a practitioner, know your own boundaries. So I have a very thorough screening process before I accept someone as a client. And I, therefore, have never had a problem.
Yeah, it's such an intimate form of therapy that
it is.
Like for me, I mean, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, like, sorry, baby, if you're watching, that's not gonna happen with me. Like, to me, cuddling is such an intimate thing that we're gonna have to get it on. That's just the way it is. It's just not like it's not like, oh, you can touch me and cuddle with me, and that's an intimate thing you do with somebody who is like you're in love with or you like, you know what I mean? To me, I just can't just do that to somebody, you know, the cuddler, and somebody's loving on me, and then all of a sudden it's like your screen process will be dead on with me. Like, no, I can't help this guy because he will
Next.
take advantage of me. Yeah, because I just don't see, I don't like, for me personally, I don't see how somebody can just say, come into your office for an hour, you lay down with that person, and then all of a sudden y'all just loving and hugging each other and caressing each other, and then an hour goes by, it's like, well, $75 down there. Next. I don't.
That's fair. And
explain the process.
Yeah.
Explain the process to me.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you hug anybody outside of your wife and your kids?
Yes. Yes, but I don't cuddle with them.
Well, here's the thing. The reason why cuddling, you know, that sort of umbrella term, is so beneficial and we feel so much better cuddling with somebody is because in as little as 20 to 30 seconds of healthy touch with somebody, something is released into your system. It's a hormone called oxytocin, and it's a bonding hormone. It's what bonds mothers to their newborn children through breastfeeding. It's what happens when you hug somebody, that if you hug them longer than just like a bro hug or the ass out hug, where it's like a greeting, but it's not really there. You're not really dropping into that moment. But if you actually hug somebody and spend, 20 to 30 seconds there, you'll notice that your body kind of relaxes, and maybe your breath slows down a little bit and your heart rate, relaxes, and you feel a little bit less anxious or stressed or, whatever. It relaxes you. And that's because of the oxytocin. So that said, the benefits come from, not necessarily lying down with somebody and cuddling for an hour. That's not necessarily what all my sessions look like. Cuddling is sort of like a blanket term for having an exchange with somebody with healthy platonic touch that allows for that chemical to be released for somebody to feel the effects of that. And so for some people, that is, some people come from a history of some sort of trauma. And so lying down and cuddling is not what they need. That's way advanced. It's about allowing people to really feel seen. And that can happen in a session with just sitting side by side on the couch and maybe holding hands, or just sitting so that your arms are touching, or making eye contact and eye gazing. Those are all things that can happen in a session that's not necessarily like we're going to lay on a bed and hug and there's touching and, okay, see ya, and then you're left to your own devices on your own. You know what I mean? Like, that's not necessarily what a session is like or how it plays out, because the fundamental, intention of the session is for people to be able to feel seen and feel safe in being their authentic selves.
Yeah, if you see my name on the sheet, have security ready, okay? Because I'm not coming to cuddle. But
Got it.
Seriously,
you're going on the list.
Seriously, yes, put me on the list. Like, yeah. No, put the picture on the wall. Right. Other creeps that don't understand boundaries. Just take a screenshot. With that said, why you said in the discussion that it's mostly married men. Why mostly married men?
All right, let's go there. So there oftentimes is a disconnect that happens, and I will leave it to you if you want to add on to this and share any of your own experience, but there's no pressure to do so. But what I have seen throughout my own just life experience. And then through the work that I have done, that has made me kind of go back and reflect on other life experiences and see where, wow, this really is true, is that there's a disconnect that happens when, for one, if there's not a strong foundation from the beginning of the relationship where both partners are able to be totally authentic with each other about, what they want, what they need, what their expectations are, what their values are, their likes, their dislikes, if we don't show up that way from the beginning, because we tend to start a relationship, excuse me, with the best foot forward. And, I want to show you that I am, your dream person. And so I'm going to go with the flow. I'm not going to be high maintenance and oh, you want to go skydiving? Great. I love skydiving, but I have a terrible fear of heights, right? We do sorts of things that are out of character and not authentic for us because we want to impress another person. And that becomes a problem further into a relationship as those walls sort of start to come down and you become to get more connected and intimate with someone where eventually it's like, hey, babe, you want to go skydiving? I got this great deal. It's like, no, I hate skydiving. I hope I can cuss on here. I didn't ask you first, but it's happening. Great. So, but it's like, no, I have a terrible fear of heights. How do you not know this?
I can't believe you just asked me, was it okay to cuss? And I just told you if I was ever a client that I would definitely try to take advantage of you. And then you're going to ask me, hey, is it okay to cuss? Yeah, you can cuss.
It's good to check. It's good to check. So it becomes a problem when those walls start to come down and we start to feel safer to be more authentic and say this is what I'm about, this is what I'm not about, but it's different from how we originally presented ourselves. So that sort of already starts to break down some trust that kind of puts a crack in the foundation that will eventually grow into big gaping holes. So what tends to happen, there's so much that's a part of this as to why married men, but other factors over the life of the relationship can lead to further disconnection on top of that. And one of those things that is a pretty major one that I have seen is that when children come into the family unit, a lot of focus and attention, as it should, goes to the care of the children. And the children become the priority. But when the relationship isn't continued to be nurtured alongside of that, and the relationship takes a back seat, oftentimes the husband, the father, will begin to feel less valued in that relationship other than as a provider and the head of the household. And maybe doesn't feel as seen, or sometimes as far as doesn't feel included in certain things. And there are so many other factors, we could go down the rabbit hole as to why that is. But essentially it comes down to dad, that relationship isn't being nurtured and that relationship goes on the back burner and dad feels unseen. And if he is to express, a need for affection, even just something as simple as a hug or a cuddle, oftentimes what he gets met with is, okay, I'll give you a hug, but I'm not in the mood for sex. Don't even try anything. I'm not there. I have a headache. Or, what did you do wrong? Why are you coming to me for a hug? What did you do? And so all of these sorts of things are based on whatever the history of the relationship has been, but it can digress, it can deteriorate over time to this place where, we question each other's motives, and it becomes a point where the man is no longer safe to ask for such simple things that are such a basic human need, to be able to say I had a hard day. Can I get a hug? It's why? What'd you do? Or, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes. I'm married. It makes plenty of sense. But see, the thing about me is I joined a marriage with a lady who already had 2 kids. So I was already second, right off the bat. So let's say this. I'll share your story, and I probably get in trouble with it, but she don't watch this. So my wife has a son. Okay, her son is going to be 24 this year. But that said, in 11 years of marriage, this boy could come over here and piss on my head, and I'll get yelled at for 2 hours. Why did you wash his pee off your head? Why did and that now that's not that I saw it firsthand, and that was as a man, that was a decision I had to make. I had to make a decision. Was I going to stay in this marriage where I know that her son was always going to come first, or leave? I chose to stay. So I don't complain about, when my stepson does something stupid. I learned early on. It took me a while because, me having the ego and having the temperament, I will always I want to do something about it then or go tell her. Either way, it was going to turn out bad for me. So I try to walk in on eggshells, and sometimes that didn't work. Really for me now is like, I let him do his thing. I do my thing, and we try not to interact. And that's been working pretty good. I got other kids I got to take care of. So that's been working for me. So yeah, I can understand what you was talking about when, the mom chooses the kids. Now, because now with that said, we have 4 other kids together. She has a daughter that I adopted when we had 3 kids together. She's a very busy woman. And if she is watching this, she'll probably, after talking about her son, she's probably pissed off and not listening to this part. But I know she's very busy and she does a lot. And she has my respect. She has my gratitude. Same thing. Well, I guess gratitude and respect is not the same thing. She has my respect. She has my gratitude. This house could not run without her. I do understand that, I need to come second. It's not that I need to come first. When it comes to her and the kids, to me, they're in the same category. They come first. I'm second to me too. So I don't really get upset about stuff like that. I don't need to go find somebody. No disrespect to you. I know you help a lot of people, but I don't need to go find somebody to cuddle with. Mm-hmm. I cuddle by myself. And yes, I do get the headaches. My wife, she really does need to go get a MG. What's the thing when you check your head? MRI.
Oh,
a CAT scan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those headaches are something serious. Those time of months happen every 3 days. I mean, so as a husband, I get it. So, I think sometimes as a husband, people need to kind of, as you say, cowboy up and just, realize that you're not the only one stressed out here. You got to be more sympathetic to the wife because, my wife works a full-time job. Mm-hmm. She comes home, she cleans, she cooks. I wish she would get more help from the kids because the way I grew up, my mom didn't clean. We did. My father, when I was going to my father's house, he cleaned, but he expected his kids to clean up after themselves. In this house, she expects her. This is where our troubles come in. She expects that it should be me and her clean up after everybody. She'll come on and say, our biggest problem in the relationship is you're see how you see this differences,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
But anyway, go ahead.
The men who come to see me, they don't have the ability to say that to their partners. And they, for you, you have a platform, and so it helps. Obviously you're comfortable saying all of these things to her anyways, but you also have a platform where you can talk about these sorts of things as well. And it's that getting it out and being able to express what's bothering you and what's coming up for you in terms of these differences and the frustrations and all of that, that can allow it to sort of release in a way, not fully, but to a point where you're not holding it in and then shutting down, suppressing, and getting really lonely and feeling that further isolation. But for the clients who come to see me, whether Cuddlist or now with the coaching, which is all virtual, it's about having someone that they can share these things with that they don't have otherwise in their life. And so that is why it is so beneficial to have these sessions, because there is the safety of being able to say it to somebody who's not related to the family, friendship circle, any of that in any sort of way. So it's totally objective and non-judgmental, and allows a bit of like a pressure valve release.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Why do you usually primarily support the men?
Men have a lot less resources available to them for mental and emotional health. Men are not encouraged to seek support. We look at gender role conditioning and how we, from the beginning of mankind, have sort of ingrained in little boys that they have to be tough and they can't cry, or they'll be a girl, or, skin your knee, and it's like you're told, go put some dirt on it. Whereas with little girls, it's like, oh, my poor baby, come here, let me hug you, let me kiss your boo-boo, make it better. But boys grow up from a very early age that they have to be tough and that they have to stuff their emotions and not show any of that. And so as these little boys grow up and feel like they can't say, look, I'm having a hard day, I'm really stressed out, or I'm worried about this, I'm fearful about this, I'm sad about this, you know, they're still not encouraged to seek support. Therapy, we've been talking a lot more in this country in the last several years about mental health, but therapy for men is still really stigmatized, and it still tends to symbolize like, you're at the end of the line. It's like, okay, this is my last stop. I have to go to therapy now. It's like a last ditch effort, or it's still seen as a sign of weakness to seek support. So women, on the other hand, have so many resources available to them for support. Women are totally encouraged and see the value in therapy and support. And women are also, because women are conditioned to be okay and comfortable expressing their emotions and sharing and being vulnerable, women have those relationships with their female friends. Men typically do not, for the same reason. And so the reason I support men is because I see this deep need where men, it's not that men don't have feelings. Men have feelings. They've just been told for so long that they can't express them. And oftentimes when they get married, their partner is the person who they finally feel safe to express them with. But going back to the disconnection that can happen over a period of time, that safety and trust goes away, and then the man no longer has a resource for support. And so then there's the isolation and the loneliness. And then that can lead to also affairs, because what happens when a man finally has an affair, it's not because he wants to leave the family or because he's in love with this other person. It's because somebody has seen him in a way that he hasn't felt seen in a long time. And men are typically prone to attach their emotions to sex or sports. And so, that feeling seen, it's like, oh my gosh. And it tends to lead to, an affair that doesn't mean anything. But that's why it comes from needing to experience that emotional connection.
You forgot beer.
Beer! Damn it! I knew there was another one.
So how can we have more authentic relationships inside our marriage?
Well, if there's the ability from the beginning, for single people who might be listening, to approach dating and new relationships from a place of really showing up authentically. And it doesn't mean don't compromise on things, because that's a totally separate thing. We have to be willing to compromise. Otherwise, nobody would ever last in a relationship. But it's about staying true to what is important to you and your hardline boundaries, and establishing those and expressing, clearly who you are in a way that allows the other person to feel safe expressing who they are and what their boundaries are. But in existing relationships, with men who are in this position now where that divide has grown, it takes some initial self-evaluation first to see, if I do this work to try and start to reestablish connection, is my partner going to be, open to meeting me halfway on that? Coach people on is, they're so simple, but it takes really being committed to habituating those techniques in the relationship to be able to see any sort of transformation.
All right. So gentlemen, I hope you listened and paid attention. We learned a lot today. One, if you do want to cuddle with this young lady, do not take advantage of her. Two.
Well, I'm not doing that anymore. It's all online now.
Oh, well, yeah, COVID. Yeah, I'm not even supposed to say COVID.
Oh, interesting.
This interview is so not going to get any money. So with that said, let's talk a little football, shall we?
Okay, let's go.
I see that you are you are a football fan. I saw on your website who your team is. You want to tell everybody who your favorite team is?
My only team, Joseph, is the 49ers. I am ride or die 49er fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me why you're a 49ers fan, and tell me why they're not as good as the Atlanta Falcons. Rise up. Okay, now I'm being sarcastic. Everybody knows if you're a Falcons fan. Look, I'm ride or die Falcons all the way, but I mean, I'm not stupid.
I respect that.
But go ahead.
49. No, I respect ride or die fans, Yeah, so I would say that it's just like in my DNA. My earliest memory of football is being at a family gathering, and we had some big meal, and I went to the bathroom. I was probably 7 or 8-ish, I would say. So I about football. So none of this was in my awareness. We had the dinner, and I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and the table was empty. Everybody was gone. And it was in a family member's house who wasn't, a family member. It was like a great aunt. So I wasn't super familiar with the house or with them even. I didn't know where anybody was. I just knew that everybody was gone. All of a sudden, I started hearing noises. So I followed the noises, and I found my entire family huddled in the glass den in the back watching the 49er game on this small TV with the bunny ears, and shouting and rooting for the team. And so that was when I knew, okay, 49ers. But it didn't really make any sort of an impact on me until much later, as I got older and started watching 49ers myself. And it was also, because of that family thing, it was my grandpa's team, and I had a really close, special relationship with my grandpa. And the last, couple of years of his life, I would go over on Sundays and watch the game with him. And it was, really fond memories. So yeah, I'm ride or die. I'm attached.
Let me ask you this. Like I told you the story about when I was an insurance adjuster about getting lost in Brooklyn. Sundays were hard for me because all they would play were Giants and Jet games. How do you, living in Brooklyn, how do you watch the 49ers? Do you do the direct
Well,
TV Sunday
no.
ticket, or do you watch the red zone, or do you just
Listen, I
whenever
got
a
to be
49er
honest
game
with
is on?
you. No, I got to be honest with you. When I moved here, I had the best intentions of trying to find, like a sports bar that would play it. But
Yes,
being a new transplant to the city, I didn't want to go do that by myself, and I wasn't meeting people who were football fans. So it just became something that got shoved aside. So to be totally honest, I really haven't followed my team, in the last 5 years very closely, but because they don't play those games on the local channels.
right.
But it
Yeah,
doesn't
I gotta
change
stop you.
my love.
I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you right there. You're
Yeah,
single,
go for
aren't
it.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because only single people talk like that. When I was
That
single,
not going to watch the games.
yeah, by yourself, I used to be so paranoid about stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to go to movies by myself. I'm not going to go
Movies I'll do.
But no, I'm saying for me, like, I was not going to go to the movies. I wasn't going to do anything by myself. And I missed out on a lot of stuff. Now, when you start but for me, when I was in relationships or when I got married, especially marriage, you got to understand you got two people in every marriage got stuff that like my wife doesn't like watching movies. I love watching movies. So if I go to the movies, I'm going by myself. Yeah, doing stuff by yourself. I would go to sports bars all the time by myself. Back when I quit drinking, but back when I was drinking and I wanted to go watch the game and I didn't want to hear babies crying, I would go to Buffalo Wild Wings or you watch the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only. But I feel you. But you really got to get that out of your head because
it's out of my head now.
Football, especially.
Yeah, it's out of my head
you're missing
now.
a lot. This season, the 49ers were pretty. They were okay.
Yeah, last season was better, of course. But yeah, I don't have that resistance anymore. But moving to a new city and everything is already like so different and new to get used to, and it was like, I had a lot of other things going on as well. So it took a back seat. So it's not that I'm afraid or worried to do that, and I really would have liked to have done that this year, but because of conditions, I couldn't go to sports bars to watch games. It wasn't an option. So
right.
So they're still my team though.
Is that the only sport you watch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, look, gentlemen, if you're watching this, a female that will cuddle with you and watch football and drink beer, what are you doing right now? If you live in the Brooklyn, Manhattan, New York, Long Island, Connecticut, whatever area you living in right now, if you're in that is general area, be looking out for this girl because I'm telling you right now, it's hard to find a girl like football, like beer, and that will cuddle with you. Well, it's most guys turn that. I ain't gonna lie to you. After sex, it's time. It's time for you to go make me a sandwich.
No, that's better before.
Yeah, before, yes. But afterwards, no. Go downstairs, make me a sandwich, and just be quiet.
Oh, there's so much to unpack there.
But listen, I had a great time talking to you. I'm glad you took a lot of these jokes. Half of them, about 25% of them were serious. You're a very lovely young lady. I appreciate you coming on the show. Please tell everybody where we can find you.
Thank you so much, Joseph. It's really been fun to be on, and I appreciate you giving me the space. So you can find me on social media, Instagram and Facebook. I'm at rachaeljaye.co. It's RACHAELJAYE.co. LinkedIn, Rachael, same spelling, -J. And my website is www.marriagemvp.com.
Gentlemen, her website's probably one of the coolest websites you're ever going to go on.
Oh.
This young lady is one of the coolest. I'm a reporter. I just state I'm not a reporter. I just state the facts. It's like what Jesse Ventura said. When did the truth become bad? You know, the truth is the truth. You're a cool young lady.
Thank you.
You're a cool young lady. You got a cool website. You out there trying to help people. You know, you got my respect. Consider yourself part of the CTS family. Everybody else, if you want to see the links that she discussed, it's going to be down in the description. Please hit the subscribe button because she is not coming back on with 2 subscribers. We need more subscribers. Okay.
Subscribe.
Subscribe, damn it. We need some subscribers. Okay. So with that said, Rachael, it was a pleasure. Consider yourself part of the CTS family. Stay on the line. Everybody else.
Thank you. Thank you so much.